What's crack-a-lackin' Challenger? I'm your host James Morelan. Today I'll be telling you guys how I take care of my fish tanks and how I clean them and maintain them on a daily basis. Some of you guys know I do get a lot of fish and I'm planning on getting more fish and more tanks, and you guys are like, hey, how is this 16-year-old taking care of his tanks? And the thing is, my daily maintenance isn't that hard, honestly. So the main problem earlier, when I had my 3 tanks, when I had one down here and then when I had 2 upstairs in my room, I feel like that was more maintenance than how it is right now. When I had them separated through my house, I had to go upstairs, I had to do water changes, I had to keep track of how often I did them. Now when all my fish tanks are in this one room, it is extremely easy. So I'm just going to run through what I do on the daily basis. So I'm going to reset everything in the fish room and kind of explain what I do. My fish! These are my guys. So right when I wake up in the morning, I come down here and I turn on the lights. I mean, it's a basic thing. This is a timer which is meant to do it, and I do not keep my tanks on timers yet. I'm still kind of setting out the electrical work in the fish room. It's a little bit of a challenge to like set this, like I still need to read the manual. This is supposed to be really easy, but it's not. Then I go through to all my other tanks and turn them on. So now that all the tanks are on, I actually go over and turn on my CO2. What's cool on most CO2 tanks, they have this little device that actually has to plug into an outlet. So this is an actual valve that is an electronic valve that turns on and off if CO2 can flow through the system. I could actually have it on a timer, but I have not done that. I turn on my CO2. Currently, I've been doing it on the low setting. It still puts out quite a bit of CO2. So now I go on my phone, set a timer for how long I want to keep my lights on. Because sometimes I do wake up at different times, so again, I need to get a timer system so I don't really have to do this. But then later in the evening, I'd actually turn on these blue lights just when I'm sitting beside my computer. I'll be editing, I'll have this light on, and some of the other tanks have these blue lights. After about 30 minutes of that, I'll turn this one on, and then it's just blue lights. So I keep this on for about an hour, and then I go upstairs to go to bed. So it's not really that hard, especially when it's so easy with these little buttons. Of course, it would be extremely easy if I just decided to program this thing. But now onto the instance when I had my other tanks. When I would wake up, I'd have to turn on all the lights, and then I'd have to go down and turn on the light down here. So I mean, it's easier when it's all in the one area. Now feeding's kind of like a different topic. Some people like to feed every other day to keep their fish starved. Currently I've been trying to go for more bulk, but not overfeeding, because overfeeding is not good. It can cause algae, it causes waste, it can hurt your tank. So you just want to make sure you're feeding them properly. I've kind of noticed how much I have to feed them. The book says to feed them however much they can eat in 3 minutes. I mean, I don't really follow that. I mean, I've just learned from my fish from over time. If you overfeed, just get a little net, scoop it all up, make sure they don't have that. Something interesting that I've gotten, which is disgusting, completely horrible, which I do not recommend you guys getting, but I mean, you can do what you want, but it's disgusting. Yo, apologies to everyone at home that hates creepy crawlies. Look away from the screen for 1 second. So this is disgusting. Oh my gosh. My mom got mad at me because I'm using one of her Tupperware containers for this. Oh my gosh. And the thing is, it smells horrible. Like, and some of these are actually dead, which I just noticed now. But you want to scoop those out. There's a lot of maintenance for cleaning these, but I feel like any fish that likes, oh gosh, live food, likes this. Like, it's better in my, guys, I do have the food actually in these cute little cups, and I'm not going to give them the entire cup, but it's just like a little bit easier for me to hold, so I don't have a huge container. Plus, if I were to drop it or spill it or get water in it, it won't ruin all the food I have. I only have snails in here, thanks to Gavin for sending some ram's horn. Make sure you guys comment thank you, Gavin, because he sent me some ram's horn snails, and they are awesome. Now I just dropped that in these tanks. Now that all the feeding's done, see, that was easy. That was like a 5-minute process going from each tank. And I'll probably do that again later in the day. I like to mix up the diet of my fish. I don't like to keep them on one thing. Because, I mean, like, I hate when I'm at school and I have to eat the same food over and over. So I like to give them a variety in their diet. Not only because it's better for them, because of their proteins and the different nutrients in those foods, but also just because I think it's more interesting for them. They don't want to be eating the same flake food. They want to, like, for live food, they like to hunt. Frozen food, it's like different tastes. I mean, I'm just really particular. I want these guys to like eat well. So I also usually do just check the temperature. I don't have any of these sticky pads on my tanks yet. I mean, I like to have the little dippable thermometers. I actually have it up in my other tanks upstairs. Actually, we're going to be doing a leopard gecko care video on my other channel, but let me talk about something more serious. If you haven't heard about Hurricane Harvey, it's a hurricane that's ruined thousands of people's lives and homes, and it's continuing to move. And for those of you that are international might not have heard this, I've actually decided to donate all the profits from the Challenger.store to multiple causes that are helping with the hurricane. So if you guys want to check it out down in the description, everything will be going to them for the next week, and over the next month, 25% of all the profit will be going toward them. And if you guys aren't interested in that, there will also be some other links that I don't own in the description that are going for food, that are going for new houses, and a lot of other things, because after this main event, it'll take years for families to rebuild. And if you don't feel like donating financially, please donate your time to think about them, keep them in your minds, keep them in your hearts, in your prayers. So back to the video. Now you may be wondering how I clean these tanks and also plant maintenance. So if you have noticed in some of my videos, there has been quite a bit of algae on these tanks, and it's kind of a problem right now. So I have been scrubbing off algae, but the thing is, it'll eventually go away once the tank is balanced. So I do scrape this tank. Some of these other tanks actually have to go through and scrape. I think for the average person, a water change would take 30 minutes to an hour. For me, it's actually really short. Like, I could only spend 2 hours and I'd be done with all my tanks. This is my siphon. This is a crazy, the length of my arm siphon thing. Like, I'm used to a siphon that is like this big, or maybe like even like this big, but this, look at this thing. It's wonderful because this can reach the entire length of the tank. The tube is really long too for when it goes into a bucket. I only use this on this tank, but I mean, I use this one. It's a really small one. I like the smaller one usually for small tanks. It's easier to work your way in because I actually like to clean up waste when I'm doing water changes. People just try getting the water out, but I like to get the dirt and stuff and their like waste from just being a fish. But let me explain to you a problem that I have. I'm blessed to have a faucet right over there. It's behind this wall, so I can easily get water in here. I'm actually in a siphon system. But before I do that, it's broken or something. The cold water doesn't work. The hot water works perfectly, but the cold water doesn't. So when I'm putting out water, it's sending it out at like 80, 90 degrees, like burning your hand to the touch. I'm probably gonna have to get a new sink or something, so that's gonna be a pain. But until then, I literally have to get my 5 gallons and I put hot water in there and I just let it sit for 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It depends because the basement is usually colder. So I mean, like, it still goes in pretty hot. It still goes in 80 degrees, 85 degrees. I usually only do that for this tank. For these small tanks, I'd wait longer. So yeah, that is it for me talking about the cleaning. Let me talk about my 55. So if you guys know, I was gonna do a live stream 55 aquascape. That is no longer the case. We are actually doing something that I haven't really seen anyone else do. So the 55 is actually going to be half aquarium, half terrarium. I've seen this done a couple times, but I don't think anyone's made a real video on it. I'm actually doing that with my 55, so look out for that. I could show you what I have right now, but it's kind of embarrassing. But it's gonna be soil, and then sand, soil, and then tons of fish and some small plants. It's gonna be very realistic, very amazing. It's gonna happen hopefully in the next month or two, so look out for that. Alright guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. Again, on a serious note, don't forget that there are people suffering in the world and that there are tons of other people in worse situations than you. I'm not saying what you're doing is not important, but I'm just saying, like, in my instance, I'm going to school. I'm able to make these videos. I'm able to keep my fish. I'm able to provide for my fish. I'm able to get new tanks. I'm able to do these things, but there are thousands of other people. There are even millions of other people that can't even do that. And if there's a problem in my life, let's say I can't do something or someone says no to you, there are thousands of people that never heard yes. So again, please keep your hearts out there and please keep thinking about them. And I'll catch you on the flippy flop. See you later. Donation links will be down in the description, as well as all the proceeds from the challenger.org. I will see you all on the flippy flop. See you later. Bye.